Boom. So where we were talking offline, I think that AI is creating such a great advantage for human beings if you're not a fucking idiot. Like if you actually know what you're talking about and you know how to market, you know how to create relationships with people, it actually makes you so much more valuable because a lot of people just skip the steps of developing mastery and jump straight to AI. Like I don't know if this is a thing when you were in school or university, but when I was in high school, that was when kids really started to bring laptops to school and it was like becoming super popular. And teachers would always get mad at them. They're like, don't take notes with your laptop, take notes by hand because it sinks in differently and you actually like it actually transfers to your brain in a different way and creates neural pathways when you write the shit out. And a lot of kids are like, fuck you, teacher, I'm on my laptop. And then just, but that's how I feel like building with AI and building with AI properly and being a dumbass and just expecting AI to do your job. I think that's how it is. Cause like, let's say AI can do the job for you in 3 years. You're spending 3 years looking like a fucking idiot when you could have just learned it properly. And then 3 years from now, you'll be a machine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's true. The AI thing, obviously, like I started using, ChatGPT when it first came out. And obviously listened to a lot of people and all that good stuff. And they talk about this AI, that, but it hasn't changed to this day. So anyone who is an expert, like who already knows the topic, can use AI, like you said, to make them better. But if you don't know the topic, it will lead you astray. It'll actually, like you said, it'll truly make you dumber because it's going to be telling you stuff that might not even be relevant, and you don't have the sense to know if it's relevant or not. So you're like, oh, okay, I'll just do that then. And it's just like it's just bad advice. And
Mm-hmm.
the interesting thing is I find that like I've been using it quite a bit. Um, and the more that I use it, the more that I hate to use it. And I'm like, I don't
Mm-hmm.
like using this. And I just don't use it anymore. And now
Yeah.
I use it properly, which is just
Mm-hmm.
as like a sidekick to like do busy tasks or like boring stuff for me. And that's kind of it. Like I don't use it for, as before I was like, oh baby, like this is gonna make me a better
Yeah.
insert thing that I'm not good at.
Yeah.
But
It's
but every
like
time I would ask it for that knowledge, I would just be confused. I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, well, whatever it says, I'll just do that. And then like, this isn't good either.
it's like when Jump Souls came out and guys were
Oh,
like, "Oh, I'm gonna dunk now! Like I'm gonna be
yeah,
fucking
yeah,
360ing in this bitch." And then you're like,
yeah,
"Oh no, I actually have to be good at jumping.
yeah.
This half-inch piece of silicone in my shoe is not
No,
going to turn me
yeah,
into Jason Richardson."
yeah. I still have to do the work, right? Like
Yeah,
even
yeah,
with jump
exactly.
souls, they just gave you a jump program that you could have done without the fucking jump souls, and you
Yeah,
actually would have jumped high anyways. But you still have to do the program, right?
yeah.
So, like, yeah, jump souls.
Or
Shut up.
the Coach Karan Godwin ball handling gloves
Oh
with
my
the
goodness.
gloves. I actually
Oh,
for a bit I would like dribble with mittens on,
yeah,
like
yeah.
those like Winnipeg industrial minus 45-degree mittens that like your hand is really sandwiched in there.
It can help. It can help. It's like AI can help. It can help, but you still have to work on your handle. You have to know how
Yes,
to dribble.
yes,
Like you have to, okay, you've never dribbled in your life. Like here you go, put these on. You're like
yeah,
you'll never even get past. You won't get past. Like think about if a person never dribbled before and like, okay, let's go. And you're like, I'm going
yeah,
to teach you how to do this, and you put the gloves on and use. So like
yeah,
that's the equivalent to the AI here, right? Is like if you don't
yeah,
actually have any baseline skill or understanding, you start throwing AI at it, there'll be diminishing returns. I think that's the big thing. It's like it's not that it won't help you, it's not that you can't learn, but I think at some point there will be diminishing returns if your knowledge isn't there along like with the understanding of like how to use
yeah,
it. So you need to point it in the right direction.
yeah. And
Otherwise it's completely useless.
I think you need to have an understanding of what it's trying to do. That's why I'm a big fan of like either create a GPT yourself and like understand what you're creating or make all the marketing assets first. Like make the landing page, make your own content, write long form, you not just like write short form and okay, cool, it's done. Like no, make short form, but make long form so that it sees the ideas being fleshed out in real time. Make your offer doc, make a sales argument, make a creative brief, then take all of it and throw it into the AI and tell it, hey, I am doing this. I need you to do XYZ. This is what I'm looking for. Here's inspiration for it. Take all the shit I gave you. Give me this specific fucking task. Go. Because if you don't, if you're just asking ChatGPT or Claude, you have to remember they're just fucking pulling from the ether and they're pulling from everything they can access. So they could be pulling from fucking Joel Osteen for all you know. Like they could be pulling from somebody who you do not align with or somebody who's not relevant to what you're doing. But because it's marketing advice and because there's a lot of it, they take that as gospel. Unfortunately, most people are fucking idiots and have no idea what they're doing. So if they're pulling from a lot of people who don't know what they're doing, they're going to impact. That's going to happen to you. Like, could you imagine if like you had a coach in basketball and he's like, yeah, we're just I honestly don't know what we're running. Like I'm just gonna ask the crowd. Like they've seen enough games. Like they're season ticket holders for like 20 years. Hopefully they know what we're doing. And like you're in the timeout and he's like, yeah, John with the beer gut told me we should just run an isolation. And you're like, there's 0.5 seconds left. That's not gonna fucking work. And he's like, no, we're running it. And then it's just it's a free for all.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's exactly. I do like the idea of just taking the data that you have. I think like one thing that I've been using, just a shout out to a specific type of LLM, like large language model that is really good is Notebook LM. I don't know if you ever used that.
I've heard. I haven't used it, but I've heard
Yeah,
it's really good.
honestly, it's by far the best one for exactly what you're talking about because
Mm-hmm.
what you do is you create these workbooks, they're called, and you upload the knowledge and it only pulls from that knowledge base. And then it gives you
Mm.
advice, data, reports, working trees, infographics, whatever you want. And the cool thing is, I've even used it for like when I'm traveling, I'll just have all these thoughts watching people in the airport and stuff. And I just do idea dumps. I'll just turn my phone on, I'll be
Mm-hmm.
walking and I'll literally be voice noting into it. And it just takes the text copy and it takes it as knowledge. That'll be a workbook. It's just like random thoughts of mine. I created an entire protocol by combining these random thoughts and won't bore you with the details, but nonetheless, that's using what your lived experience, the way you see the world, the things that you
Mm-hmm.
experience, and then leveraging AI. And Notebook LM is great at that because it actually will not pull from anywhere else. You don't have to
Yeah.
tell it like don't do anything else. It only pulls from this data set that you create, you upload. So if you took that
Yeah.
same thing where you're like, oh, I'm going to upload all my, all this stuff. Like you can now ask it like, hey, let's riff on this. Like, what do I think about this? It only pulls from the knowledge you gave it. So if you
Mm-hmm.
uploaded this, let's say this conversation we had, and we uploaded
Mm-hmm.
that to Notebook LM, we could query that. But if you uploaded all the conversations you've had, you can be like, hey, like, what's Nicholas's beliefs on this topic? And it will list it for you.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's super powerful. It's really cool. And it's unlike, ChatGPT. It doesn't like list. It doesn't
ChatGPT actually
lag.
it
It really
actually
sucks.
sucks.
It sucks.
It's
Yeah, it's really bad.
terrible.
It's
The
bad.
only thing I think that it has on every other AI right now is the custom GPT builder.
Yes, yeah,
That
that's
that's
true.
a really cool feature, but
Yeah,
the actual AI fucking sucks. So
it's
it's
terrible.
like, yeah, this really cool feature on this thing that's trash. So have fun. It's like
Yeah.
because I was going to create custom GPTs for my coaching offer. I think what I'm going to do instead is teach people how to create projects in Claude or how to just use Notebook and be like,
Hmm.
okay, here's how you can
Yeah.
use AI to help you with the market research, but you actually have to do this shit. Then here's how you go at warp speed. Like, yes, it'll take a while to get there because you actually have to understand what the fuck you're talking about. But once you get there, it's so much better. And it's you. Like you don't have to worry about
Oh,
competition. It's an
100%.
extension of you. If you do the things properly, I just fucking flung my cord there. If you do the things properly, and if you actually understand like who I am, who I'm trying to serve, and like what unique mechanisms I have that are unique to me based on my worldviews and experiences, and I actually create something that people want based on that, and then I put it in an AI that's going to echo that or help me flesh it out more, how it's going to help me. It's not just
Mhm.
fucking hoping it's going to do all the work for you. Because even I actually heard a great use for AI is using it as a sparring partner. I can't speak all of a sudden. Using it as a sparring partner. So like, hey, here's what I believe. Poke holes in this.
Yeah. Well, it's a great thing for them, and and totally agree with you. It's like the proprietary what will become your proprietary knowledge is proprietary to you already. It's just that we have a lot hard time making it into something that we can like quantify, and that's I think the
Yeah.
main use. So it's like again, I use this because we're having a conversation about these things. If you had 10 of these and you put them all into Notebook LM, you could truly say, what are my values based off this conversation? Like, and then you'd be like, that's right. Like, I never thought about that, but that's totally true. And the
Hmm.
thing is like once you not only understand what your values are, but align with them. And so a lot of times, like we're saying all these things consciously. I'm talking to you, all these things that have been going through my mind and podcasts I've listened to. But if I'm now sitting on calls over and over and over again with all these people, and I keep saying the same thing, I might intuitively understand that because I've been saying it, but I haven't consciously clicked. I'm like, wow, like I actually do believe
Mm-hmm.
that. And that's going to allow you to like, so that's why I think I totally agree with you. Like leveraging it in that respect is probably the most powerful thing you could do, especially if you're
Mm-hmm.
going to be like creating content.
Mm-hmm.
Truly, because now imagine you have all these conversations with people, whatever, and now it's like, okay, time to create some content. Well, based off of these 50 conversations I've had, yo, find me some stuff, and this is what I want you to look for. And it's gonna pull it out in your own words, right? And then you can be like,
Mm-hmm.
how can I turn that into something, right? So it's like
Yeah.
it's truly taking you and just like it's like if you had a stenographer, right? Hey, just listen to what I'm
Yeah.
gonna say, and then oh, not only that, do the research, compile it, and then tell me what my core values are. Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. And I think that one of the best things that can come from this is, and I come from the agency world, right? Having that be the basis for writing for other people. Like if you have a team that you're
Mhm.
delegating to and you're like, they don't understand how I talk. It's like, shit, they're not you. So
Yeah.
how do you do that? Okay, take everything you've done, throw it in this thing and allow them to pick from that.
Hmm.
Then they'll be
Yeah.
able to get your voice. Then they'll be able to actually go from there. But I realized the benefit of not relying on AI when I was asking it for like fitness related questions. There were
Mm.
stuff that I was just curious about, seeing what it thought. I was working out, asking questions about what it thinks about, lowering your resting heart rate, pushing yourself to failure. And I was like, oh, this is actually pretty cool. But after a couple back and forths, I was like, nah, I still want a person. Because, like, yeah, this is cool and it's giving me answers, but like, I don't know how fucking accurate this is. And also,
Yeah.
this person doesn't know anything about me. I don't know how to ask it about my situation in a way that's going to get me good results. I'm just kind of hoping what it's telling me is good.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And it's not
Exactly.
like this is an AI made by like fucking, I don't know, Huberman. It's not like Huberman's AI. Like, I don't
Correct.
think Sam Altman knows anything about health, if I'm being completely honest.
Hmm.
Do I
Yeah.
expect him to give me good advice? Like, no.
Yeah. Exactly. That's exactly it, right? It's that's very true. It is very very true. But yeah, I think like for people who are like I'll tell you one way that I've used this, and again, this is not necessarily, well, I guess it technically would kind of be marketing, but so I have a whole thing, and my program's called the Body Rebuild System, and what I do is I have a Notebook LM dump where I dump everything in there, all my protocols, a whole bunch of my client testimonials,
Hmm.
client check-in forms, all this stuff. And so it understands. I can ask it to pump out a protocol like that. If I have a client,
Hmm.
what I can do is I can take that LM. I can ask I can give it specific client information for my conversation, and it has all my information, everything that I created before. Like this is a lot of it's not AI driven. Some of it is obviously, but it's all stuff I believe. I execute this in my program, and then I can instantly just like, hey, here's what I want you to do based off our conversation, and then it'll like create it for me. So it speeds up that process. But more so, I'm doing a workshop on flare ups, right? And so I've been creating all these flare up protocols and these understandings. And what I've been able to do is create a whole workbook that just has all flare up information. I've just been dumping
Hmm.
info in there. I like this. Okay, this is good. This is good. And then now, when I queried it to do the perfect webinar script, right, using Brunson, boom, I was like, hey, we're doing section one. Let's see the
Yeah.
slides. I want you to create the slides and the speaker notes. Boom, boom, boom.
Hmm.
I vet it. I vet it. Yeah, I like this. I talked about something. I'm like, don't talk about that. Remove it. And then it's just like boom, 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 boom. My slides are done. Right. And then it's also helped me create what are my freebies because you can create infographics. That
Hmm.
only comes based on the fact that like I've spent all this time like learning and understanding like what are my
Hmm.
values around back pain, and what are the things I think work within the program. So if you're taking that
Yeah.
same kind of perspective on yourself or on like your own topics, whatever they may be, however you're helping people, you can create all these resources and these things that can actually help people, but they're from your perspective, right? And so
Yes.
that's how I've been using it, and it's been like really, really powerful.
And I mean, think about it also. If you're creating a webinar, odds are you don't really want to make the slides. You know what I
No.
mean? Like, it's not the worst thing. Like, of course, this is better than working at fucking McDonald's. But the slides are the part you want to do the least.
Yeah.
So having
No.
that AI really helps because it eliminates the work you really don't want to do.
Correct.
And it just
And
makes it so much faster. Because what you want to do is you want to teach on the webinar. You want to talk to people. You want to coach. You
exactly.
want to make, I mean, I don't know if you like this as much as I do, but like, I want to make content. I want to write content. I want to be in front of camera. I want to talk to people. I don't really want to be in my silo creating webinar slides.
No.
Like, if I had to, if this is 2017, okay, I would.
Yeah.
But I don't have to. And if it's just coming from me, that I think is such a beautiful use of AI, because it
Mhm.
really is taking away the shit you don't want to do and freeing up time to do the things
Mhm.
you do actually want to
Yeah.
participate in.
Yeah, 100%. And that's so it's been really cool. So shout out to Notebook LM. I'm almost off my ChatGPT addiction. I think I'm kicking it to the curb.
I think I'm going to transition as well. I think
Yeah.
I'm going to get rid of it. Because I heard somebody say that their analogy is ChatGPT is kind of like the WeWork of modern co-working spaces. It was the first mover and everybody knows
Yeah.
it as the brand,
Yeah.
but they kind of fuck themselves over and they're not doing well enough financially to make it work, and they're
Yeah.
not actually separating themselves. Because like, really, what's the difference between a WeWork and, I can't even think of a brand name, but like a place you've been in Mexico
Yeah.
where it
Yeah.
has everything you need. It's not a
Yeah.
WeWork, but it's cheaper. It has a
Yeah.
comfortable chair and sunlight coming in. Like, you really don't give a
Yeah.
fuck.
No, you really don't. It's so true. You don't care. That's not WeWork. You just want it to be
Yeah,
good. You want the coffee to be good if you drink coffee. You want like the
yeah,
bathrooms to be clean. You want the internet to be fast and like yeah, it doesn't matter. It truly doesn't.
yeah. The only reason I've ever used a WeWork was because I was flying out of Taiwan and I didn't know of any other co-working space, and it was right there.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay, let's just use this one.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I've
yeah.
never used it otherwise. Because yeah, I even heard that, like, not to make this a fucking full AI podcast, just something I've been super heavily obsessed over ever since everybody started losing their mind. And to be fair, I was also losing my mind for a bit. But I heard that like AI, OpenAI was supposed to get 100 billion from Nvidia, and Nvidia scaled it back to only 20 billion.
Yeah,
Like, that's a huge deal.
yeah. Big time.
So
Big
yeah,
time.
they haven't made a profit. I don't think they'll make a profit in years. So I really do believe a lot of this AI stuff is just like, there's this huge bubble and everybody's trying to race to be the first
Mhm.
one to get there. So
Yeah.
there's this rising cloud of valuation, people trying to be first, people trying to
Mhm.
look smarter than they actually are,
Mhm.
people not knowing what it's about, but just wanting to be a first mover. Once it pops, we'll see people emerge with actual good AI tools, not
Yeah,
just
yeah,
bullshit. But
yeah,
anyways,
yeah. No, there's some good ones. There's some good ones, but yeah, no, I totally know what you're saying. It's the early days, man. So it's just gonna be it'll
hmm,
be interesting to see how it all shakes out.
yeah, and there's so much hype. But I'm curious because like, you've been in the online business space for quite a bit now. How do you feel like it's shaped you as a person, building this business that is actually something you care about, rather than what would have been the old path of like finding a good job or trying to make it on your own somehow?
Hmm. Hmm. Man, so you know, it's so funny, Nicholas. I was so you know, I'm not quite an OG, but I'm older than you. So I'm 43 now, and I was
Somebody called me
talking.
Unk the other day, and I was like,
You're
"Wow."
like,
I'm like, I'm 27. Damn.
yeah, yeah. Once you get past 25, you're like,
Yeah, your
I
Unk
don't know I
status.
don't know what I would be, man. Shit. But so back in 2000, and I ran an eBay drop shipping business.
Wow, I didn't know that.
So like, and I've been like trying to do businesses forever, man. Like I did the stat tracking
Interesting.
business. Yeah, I used to run
Yeah.
three tournaments for cash, and you know, just little side hustle things. I've always been like someone who's tried to like get businesses.
Hmm.
And super quick story. So this eBay business, I brought a friend in, and we used to. I don't know how I found this guy on eBay, and then he gave me his like shopping list, and essentially it was all like knockoff stuff, like Burberry and like remember Sean John and like food, like that kind of stuff. And essentially, for the first thing I did is I imported this stuff to my house, and I would resell it on eBay. It was ridiculous. I had boxes of these like sweaters and stuff. But then eventually, someone's like, "You could do this drop shipping thing." I was like, "What's that?" And so this guy that I was ordering from, like, "Hey man, like you seem to have a lot of stuff. Can I get like a list and just like you can just send it directly to the people?" And his name was Rohit. He was an Indian guy. His site was called Rohit Fashions. Anyways, I say all this to say, it obviously never took off. I was like, "This, I just can't do this." Um, but when I stepped back into the online coaching game, it was after being like in the physical space of doing all sorts of other coaching, working in events and being an executive director and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Um, and man, like the biggest thing that it's changed me on is just like the acquisition of new skills that require you to actually not change who you are, but change your perspective on how you fit within the world, if that makes sense. Right? So when you have to sit on sales calls with people and truly understand how to listen to them and how to respond, and when you need to coach people daily, like these types of things, I remember even just like the resistance I had to like show up and like post content and stuff. I was like, what the
Hmm.
hell? Like, I don't want to do all that stuff, man. I don't want to be a dancing monkey. Like, hey, like here I am,
Hmm.
like, hey, like those guys on the side of the streets when it's like tax season and they're like holding the
Yeah,
sign saying
yeah. With the
taxes
signs,
here.
yeah. With the little Caesars.
Yeah, exactly. Spinning the sign. Like I was always like, you look at people, and this is the crazy thing. There's this guy that I know. He's a millionaire. Okay, you would never know. He quit his job. He's got his stuff blew up. He was selling stuff on Amazon, but he started selling these like masks during the mask thing and like with designs on them. And it just blew up. Anyways, he'd been in that space for a long time, and I had a meeting with him. Like, man, tell me what you do. I want to learn. Like, I got to go online this after the pandemic. And he was like, you got to create a personal brand. I was like, what the hell is that? He's
Hmm.
like, it's like you go on there, you talk about yourself, and like I was like, there's so many of those. Like, I was like, it's saturated. By the way, this is in 2020. Like it's saturated. He stops, he looks at me, he's like, do you think more people are going to be going online or less people are going to be going online in the next 5 years? I was like, more? He's like, yeah. So he's like, it's not saturated. He's like, what are you talking about?
Hmm.
And he explained to me very early on, he's like, you are you. There's only one of you. It's like the best advice I ever got because I wouldn't have done it without him. I would have never done this.
Hmm.
And so, anyways, long story that come to, you asked me a simple question here. It's changed me dramatically because I've had to like learn to like not be afraid of like what I say in public, like speak up for what I believe in, do things that I didn't necessarily like doing. Um, really learn to like listen to people and hear them and respond to them. And to be fair, like truly like keep an open heart. Like I had a call with someone just recently. I just got on a call with someone who told me halfway through the sales call, I have a whole process for this. This has never happened. They said, "Wait, is is this going to cost me money?" And I was like, "Yeah." And I was like, but I had to like, like be nice about it. And then another person, I had like, you have difficult moments with clients and stuff, right? So like,
Hmm.
it's completely changed the way I look at the world. I don't think it's necessarily
Hmm.
changed who I am, but when you change the way you look at the world, obviously what you see is different. Like, oh, I look at it differently. You're like, oh, I see it from a different vantage point. So
Hmm.
then my actions are going to change as a result of that.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
basically, your drop shipping store was. Have you ever seen the 40-Year-Old Virgin?
of course.
The store she's running, like we sell your shit on eBay. That's
Yes.
what you were doing.
Yes, literally. Yeah, yeah. Literally, man. It was like unbelievable. I have like these boxes of sweaters and stuff. It was great times, man. Like honestly, it's one of my favorite stories because I when I think back, I'm like, oh no, I've always been an entrepreneur. Like I've always
Hmm.
wanted to do my own thing, and here I am. So
Yeah, that's so interesting. Yeah, dude, I agree with you completely because it's fascinating when you take an idea and you put it out into the world, and then you can literally start changing people's lives if you're good at it. Like if you just stay the course and you keep at it. Not only are you changing other people's lives, but you're changing your life completely. Like you're not relying on a job, you're not relying on what society tells you is something to focus on.
mhm.
You are completely creating something new, which I think is incredible. I really think that in the upcoming years, we'll truly see how transient and fake a lot of the rules society gave us were. Like, oh, you need to have a certain job, you need to do this and that, you need to save up, you need to do X, Y, Z. It's like the housing market's in absolute shambles. I mean, in Canada and the United States, anyways. I don't know what it's like in other countries. I can't assume it's great though. The money is losing its value every single day, and we're seeing publicly in a lot of ways that the people who are supposed to be leading us are fucking idiots and have no idea what they're doing at best and are malicious and evil at worst. So
Mhm.
like what are you
Mhm.
really going to do at the end of the day? Are you
Mhm.
going to sit and be like, wow, life sucks, the world is so evil and oppressive and I'm going to give up? Or are you going to be like, there are other things I could do about this, I don't have to subscribe to all this bullshit, I can just do
Mhm.
things on my own?
Mhm. Yeah, you're seeing a lot of people do that too, right? Like, I think that's a common trend now, and it's interesting you bring up all those things because like we open
Do you
up
mean the first one or the
conversation.
second one?
what's that? But like people not giving into like like they're realizing like, oh, maybe there has to be something else
Yeah,
out
yeah,
there,
yeah.
And I think like you opened up with the podcast, like we're just talking about like AI, right?
Hmm.
Well, I mean, right now, and then what do we both of us do, right?
Oh,
We are
yeah, I
like
know.
micro influencers, micro businesses, and stuff like that.
Hmm.
And what happened? What is clearly happening is like the old way of the industrial complex, industrial revolution model of schools and factories, et cetera, all that. That's what we've been living in, and that's collapsing now, right? In real time,
Hmm.
in front of us. And so the collapse of it is allowing, it's through technology, it's allowing us to do these things, and there's other factors as well. But yeah, it's like you said, man. I think like I don't know about you, but like I have these moments where I'm like, oh man, I'm having success now. I'm not going to make it. Of course, all this happens now, like you know what I mean, where it's like there's this
Yeah,
fear
yeah,
of the
yeah.
future, right?
Hmm.
But like you just said, it's like, well, what are you gonna do? Like you're gonna just worry about it? Just fucking go do stuff. Like you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I can't control. You can't control like what's gonna happen in the
Hmm.
global market. You can't control if people are like if money gets so devalued. You can't control if AI collapses economies. Like we can't control that, right?
Hmm.
Like that as an individual level, we can't control that, right?
Of course, of
Um,
course.
so yeah, it's
Imagine what people were going through like in the 40s. You know what I mean? Like they just went through two world wars, and then they're going
oh
through. Then there's Vietnam and the Korean War, and like
man.
the Cold War. You're worried about nuclear bombs. I'm like, all things considered, because like I know a lot of people think that AI is going to collapse economies, and people are going to try to automate everything, and they're going to try to Peter Thiel and Sam Altman are going to try to do X, Y, Z. Yes, I mean I'm not even going to argue on those points because I personally believe them. You don't have to chime in on that if you don't want to. But I also think that there's a flip side of that, which is like those are two people, and like no person or institution is bigger than me. Oh, look at how powerful they are. Oh, look at how powerful all these other people are going to this island to commit the worst crimes humanity can fathom. I don't have to listen to them. Fuck off. Like, what are you talking about? So, with all this shit of people getting scared of AI, let's also look at the flip side. As collective consciousness grows, as human beings have more awareness, more information, and more abilities because of that, our desire for truth also grows. We're seeing a lot of people not be on social media as much. That's a big thing on Instagram right now. More creators are entering the space than ever, but less people are spending time on social media. Yeah, why do you think that is? Do you think people are just like, yeah, I'm gonna fucking tank these small business owners? No, no, they're tired of the bullshit they're being given, and they realize it's not actually making their life better. Like the whole reason why I'm building an online business isn't because I want to be Instagram famous. It's because I want to change people's lives. I want to change my own life, and I want to impact the world in a positive way. It's okay. People are starting to realize that the institutions that have given us society are not benevolent and they're not having our back. And so they're starting to do their own thing. Oh, well, what if the people running AI? Okay, but as AI becomes more popular, more people will have access to it. As the internet gets more popular, more people will have access to it. Do you think that's really, do you really think that one person can control that? One group can control that? Everybody's going to be fighting for a piece of the pie. I think it's impossible for one person to just flick a switch and like determine the outcome of everything. And if we all have an ability to tap into the internet and AI, that means we all have an ability to influence the way it goes.
Mhm.
So like focus on yourself, trust there are other people out there with good intentions. I've never actually been more optimistic about the future. Truly. And like literally from 2020 through 2025-ish, 2024, 2025, I literally would like stay up at night freaking out about where the fuck humanity's headed.
Mhm.
I've never felt better about where it's going. Like I truly feel so optimistic.
Sorry, man. Can you hear that?
Yeah. I can't say the same about construction in developing countries.
Yeah, no, it's fireworks. It's Mardi Gras,
Ah, okay, okay.
Carnival, and someone is in the backyard is literally setting up fire.
Yeah, that
Um,
happened
but
yesterday for Chinese New Year.
yeah, yeah, fireworks. But yeah, no, I totally, man. I agree with you. I think like, but I think this goes down to like a deeper thing. And it's cool because I know we obviously talked about your pivot and the route you're going down with your offer and stuff like that is like not on this podcast, but like offline.
Hmm.
And like what you just described there, and again, I'll give you some kudos right now. Is like you've done work with yourself, and I know even in 2025 you're still working on yourself, but
Hmm.
like there's a certain level of like the work that you put into again what did I tell you? I see the world differently, right? There's other things besides running my business that have helped me see the
Mm-hmm.
world differently, right? Literally, like, a whole bunch of stuff, meditation and all that stuff that you've
Mm-hmm.
done. And I think like introspection and acceptance and all this, all these, these words that people use and whatever. There's all these things that you can do that are going to help you see the world differently. And even
Mm-hmm.
me, like I'll have these moments where I'm just like, oh no. Then I'm like, it's fine. I have the
Mm-hmm.
ability to say, it's fine. A lot of people don't. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the reason why I bring that back to like your offer is like, if you can, again, like truly start to like understand yourself, I think that's such a huge part in relating to other people. Like it really is, right? Because if you truly understand like what you've been going through or some of the things that like are your biggest challenges, and you can be honest and open and broad and like, and I don't mean in like some like cheesy way. I just mean like truly be okay with it. Man, like that's like a superpower that I think people connect with. When I get on calls with people all the time, man, I always ask them like, why are you talking to me? Like there's so many other people. And again, a lot of other people go with other people, but for whatever reason, those people are talking to me. Right? They're like, oh, the other coaches seem disingenuous. Like, there's something about you, man. Like, you seem real. Like, cool. Like, thank you. That's really means a lot, right? Um, and so I think, like, again, it's what you're talking about is you could look at the world in a way that, like, oh my gosh, everything's falling apart. But like you said, there's people that it was, the 1920 right after the economy collapses, and there's a whole group of people that are just like, oh baby, it's time to roll. Let's do this. Like, I'm not giving up
Yeah. Yeah.
and come out of it. Like, you know,
There are people who got the richest they've ever been in the dirty 30s. There are people who became the richest they'd ever been during COVID. There are people who became the richest they've ever been in 2008. And like
yeah,
things are always going to happen. I think that's the constant where it's like shit's
mhm,
always going to happen.
mhm.
Always.
Yeah, of course.
Can you steady the ship and like just not let it influence you past understanding what's going on? Because I also don't think that burying your head in the sand is a good thing. You know what I mean? Like if I were to talk to somebody about Epstein stuff and like what goes on like 3 years ago, they'd look at me like I had four heads and be like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, are you insane? And now it's public knowledge. People are like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
But I don't look into those things. I mean, probably a past version of me did. I don't look into those things now because I want to just like get off on how terrible people are. It's
Mm,
just more so like this is what human beings do. And I don't have to be scared of the bullshit of what goes on around. Because like
mm,
there are a lot of people living lives that I don't want any part of. And it's great to take inventory of that and just like have
mhm.
boundaries, have the necessary boundaries. Because
Yeah.
like if there are people who are willing to do whatever it takes to be famous, there are people willing to do that on a smaller level. They don't have to be sports stars or politicians or athletes. I already said sports stars or singers or actors or whatever. There are probably people in my space who are willing to take advantage of other people to make an extra $1,000, to make an extra $2,000. And I know that because I've
Yeah.
run into that.
Mhm.
I know that
100%.
because I've met people who are willing to just
100%.
cut you at the knees to make themselves look better by a small margin. And so it's good to just recognize that and be like, I don't have to subscribe to that. And there are a lot of people out there who have good hearts. And all we need to do is, or all I need to do is focus on my own frequency, my own energy, and I'll be able to attract those people. So I want to make this analogy, and it's a bit extreme, but I think it's important to note because a lot of people look at politics as a horizontal spectrum, right? Left and right, conservatives, liberals, whatever. And a lot of people look at, far left people in politics and they're like, how does this happen? This is just a small percentage of the population who really believes this. Most people don't believe this, and it happens anyways. But I don't know if you know this, and a lot of people don't know this, but there's a similar line of thinking on the right. And they're called the three percenters, if you've ever heard of them. If you haven't, it's totally fine. Their whole ideology, why they call themselves the three percenters, is because it only takes 3% of a population to overthrow a government. So if you really think about that for a second, everybody asks, how did things happen to go so far left? It's such a tiny percent of the population. And there's literally a right wing coalition called somebody shoots a gun on your end. A right
Yeah.
wing coalition called the three percenters. So people understand that you don't need massive amounts of people to buy into something to actually facilitate change. Think about if everybody just internalized that, I think it would change your life radically. You don't need the entire world to be on the same page as you in order to create massive shifts. And we see this in tiny little silos in online business. I'm one person, you're one person, but you've impacted how many people going through back pain. I've impacted how many people with what I'm doing. And when we change ourselves, we can help change other people. And that creates this ripple effect. You don't have to change the world overnight. Just sweep your own porch. If everybody did that, the world would be clean.
Hmm. Yeah, no, I like that, man. I like that. That's good stuff. That really is good stuff. I think I saw you do a post recently about like your I think the opening hook was something along the lines of like your posts don't have to, I don't know what it is. They don't have to hit a million people. It's not, that's not the
Yeah,
point,
yeah.
right? And I
And
think
then I
that's
had the Denzel Valentine three
yeah.
pointer that he,
But I think like the thing that is great about what you just said is more so that exact thing. And it's like you, and this is again, it's cool we started AI and social media. Like
Mhm.
at this stage in the game, it's like you can truly be somebody who can live a life of meaning and purpose and do some things that you love.
Mhm.
And it doesn't have to be at some 9 to 5 job in corporate office. It can literally be what you and I are doing right now and what we do every day, talking to people, helping people like that. And the cool thing is not only do you get to be yourself, but like you get to decide kind of who you want to be at the same time. You know what I'm saying? Or
Mhm.
where you want to point your lens. And I think that's just like it's crazy, man. Like I again, it's maybe why, going full circle, I started on eBay, drop shipping clothes, and I couldn't even imagine that now I can like, live in all places of the world. Like I'm literally in Mexico right now, and you're in freaking Thailand, and
Mhm.
we're just casually having a conversation. Do you know how crazy
Yeah,
that is?
yeah, exactly.
Oh, I don't know. We're just like it's 8 p.m. for me on Tuesday, and you're in the future right now.
Yeah,
Like
literally.
what the hell, like, and so it's just like, like you said, there's downsides to everything. There's always been crazy things happening in this world. Like I promise you, the world wars were, if you were living in Europe and you're fleeing, and name, other large things that have happened,
Mhm.
way crazier than anything now. This is
Yeah.
all like the upside here versus the upside, like for an upside for an individual now versus like World War II. It's not even close.
Yeah, it's
The
not
Great
even close.
Depression, not even close. People were selling their kids on the streets. Like they have to sell them. I
Yeah.
can't take care of my kids. Please. Like they will starve to death. Can someone please take care of these
Mhm.
people? We're not, like, we are on the other side of the world talking to each other right now. So yes, it's a great time to like start your own business, man. Like do something, like
Yeah. Come a long way from 2010 CMU basketball camps.
a long way, my friend. A long way. Very long way.
I always like to explain to people as well, like whenever there is an innovation or some type of disruption in the market, I can't believe I just used those three buzzwords back to back. Um, but whenever there's some type of massive technological innovation, it leaves gaps that you can exploit. And the example I always like to talk about is like when the Warriors were going crazy in the mid 2010s, everybody in the NBA thought, oh, it's because they're going small. We need to go small. Like literally, Greg Monroe signed a big deal to Milwaukee in 2014,
I
became
remember that.
useless overnight.
I
Like
remember that.
literally became one of the worst contracts in the league after 2 weeks of the season, and people were like, "Oh yeah, this is how things are going." And so everybody was pulling out their small ball lineups because even when the Warriors won the finals, they're like, "No, the Cavs can still go big." They're playing Mozgov at center. It didn't matter. And if, obviously, no, Love and Kyrie were hurt,
Mhm.
but everybody thought we need to go small. We need to go small. We need to go small. So teams were bringing out small ball lineups. They were trying to test things out, but they forgot one key ingredient. They didn't have the personnel to make it work.
Yeah.
Like it worked for the Warriors because they had the guys to make it work. Like they have the two best shooters planet Earth has ever seen. They had Draymond, who's so unique that no other player in NBA history is like that.
Yeah.
And then they had
Yeah.
guys like Iguodala, who's
Yeah.
knows his role and is willing to be a bench player and is smart and fits the
Yes.
system. Like they have all these guys who make it work. It's not just, oh, go small, oh, go small, oh, go small.
Yeah.
And so that left a massive gap for bigger players who were skilled. Like the Greg Monroes of the world, and I can't even think of players who were big and not that skilled, but were supposed to be good. But
Roy
that's what
Hibbert.
opened up. Perfect. Yeah, Roy Hibbert, Greg Monroe. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. Guys like that weren't nearly as valuable, even though they were all stars. I don't think Monroe was, but he had put up good numbers.
He was like a 20 and 10 guy at some point.
He was, yeah. He was
Yes.
Drummond. Drummond's another great example.
Well, he shoots
Just
threes
every
now.
Yeah, now year 15 or year
Yeah,
14. Just everybody on that Detroit team with like Josh Smith and Andre,
yeah,
when they started like four power forwards on the team, and like, this is going to work. But it gave room for guys like Jokic, Embiid, Wemby, Giannis, because now you have these big guys who are extremely skilled. Like Giannis he played point guard for an entire year or two. He
yeah.
goes coast to coast. Jokic is one of the best passers ever. Wemby plays like a guard. Like,
Hmm.
this wouldn't be possible if there wasn't this massive gap of like, do you know how many fucking articles I read? Are big men going extinct? Do big men even matter in the NBA anymore? And then a 7 foot guy who can pass and move and shoot comes along, like, oh yeah, this still matters.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's, and I don't know the current NBA landscape as well because I don't watch anymore because I think it's stupid. But so the analogy can't go much further. But the point is, like, whenever everybody rushes to something and thinks it's the next thing and they bet the entire house on it and they're just looking at one aspect of what makes it work, it creates massive gaps. It creates
Hmm.
massive opportunities if you're willing to look.
Hmm. Yeah. So what's the opportunity?
Being human, doing inner work. Actually, no, I won't say that because that's what everybody says. Doing the inner work to figure out what you really want and attracting from a place of frequency and energy. Because if it's just be human, okay, well, it's like the advice I always hear people say. Last analogy on the NBA thing, because I have to say this, my like fucking ADHD. I shouldn't even say ADHD. My basketball brain's like, say it, say it. Anthony Davis was supposed to be like a traditional back to the basket big man when he was drafted. He developed as the years went on because he literally saw it change in front of him.
Yeah.
Now he can handle the ball. He developed a jumper. He's able to defend on the perimeter, right? But anyways, I think the real differentiator is not just being human, but doing inner work and understanding energy and frequency. Because if all you are is human, that's just one step. Are you a human worth following? Are you a human worth watching? Are you a human worth getting closer to? It's like that dating advice that guys get, just be yourself. Okay, when I was a teenager, though, when I was 17, I wanted to play basketball and play video games all day. And
Yeah.
no offense, like, I love myself. He's a great guy, 17-year-old me. Women don't want to be with a guy who doesn't want to work and plays video games and plays basketball all day. Now, that doesn't mean I have to sell my soul and work some trashy office job, but rather explore parts of me in this paradigm of like, I need to bring something to the table that is valuable to people because that journey in and of itself is valuable to me. I get to explore different parts of myself and become independent. I get to provide for myself. I get to show up for myself in different ways. So it's not just be human. Because again, I wouldn't tell a 17-year-old me, oh, how do I talk to women? I wouldn't tell them be yourself. I'd be like, Kim, go back to the basement and I'm going to the gym tomorrow. And I'd be like, yeah, that's not how that's going to work. Do inner work to discover who you want to be. What lifestyle do you want? Do you know how many business owners I've run into who are like, yeah, I love this business. And then like a year or two later, they self-sabotage because they actually didn't like the business or they didn't know their blind spots or they just fucked things up because they didn't have any understanding or awareness of what makes them tick.
Hmm.
Lots. So like build something that you actually want to build. Build something that's worth building. Like
Hmm.
figure out who am I? What kind of lifestyle do I want? What do I want to do? What are my strengths? What are my unique worldviews? What are my unique traits that people look to me and go, wow, his energy is so much different when he talks about this shit?
Hmm.
Because
Yeah.
that's what's going to be attractive to people, not just
Hmm.
being a human being. There are a lot of human beings out there who aren't worth watching or following.
Hmm.
There are a lot of human beings who are pieces of garbage, who are assholes. I don't want to follow those people. Fuck that. Like I saw this podcast with this guy. He's like, "Do you know how broke you have to be to make $8,000 a month? You can't afford anything." I'm like, "Yeah, ignore." Sounds like a douchebag. I don't want to listen to people like that. And other people
Hmm.
might be super attracted to that.
Hmm.
That's
Yeah.
that's not my thing. But like, as soon as you get clear on your values, as soon as you get clear on who you want to be and what you're willing to stand for, that's where the needle starts moving. That's
Hmm.
where the gears start turning because now you're building something that gives you life. You're building something that's an extension of you. That's when you get to be paid to exist, quote unquote, because you're doing
Hmm.
things that you're passionate about that you want to learn more about, anyways.
Hmm.
But you have to take steps in order to attract people who want to help get that help.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, it's well said, man. It's well said. I mean, that's why I said earlier for, the work that you've done, to be someone who can actually, um, guide people, man. I think like, when you were talking, the whole thing I was thinking is, man, Nicholas is someone who has seeked out mentors, and he's found a few that weren't great, but he's found some that have been good. And we don't have to talk about that. And this is the process, right? It's like, what would hey, you're 17-year-old self or some kid who wants to like learn this. It's like the mentorship will teach you, and again, teach you how to see the world differently. And through seeing the world differently, then you can see yourself in it differently. And I think that's the big thing, man, is like what you're saying. Because if you haven't done any of that work, the inner work, then the way that you see the world is just the way you see it. Like it's going to be you freaking out in your room, like, oh my god, the world's ending. What's going on? And like, oh, I can't do this.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the power of that. Like I think because like for me, that isn't like it's interesting. What was do you remember the first question you asked me?
Like ever in life, or
No,
when
in
was
this
that? Like,
conversation.
how has online business shifted
Correct.
your life?
And exactly, right. So it's funny because the interesting thing about it is that the work, the inner work that you do, although it can help you in business, this is life work.
Mm-hmm.
And the interesting thing is business, when done correctly and in this manner, which is the way that I've done it 100%, is it actually will continue to help you do inner work. The business
Mm-hmm.
can help you. So if you do inner work first, you can now also do inner work within the business. But the thing is the types of like, at least what I do is like, it's so aligned with who I am. So
Mm-hmm.
when I do something in the business, or I find something else, or I get challenged in the business, that can also relate directly to my inner work. So I can work on that as well, right? Like these things are a full representation of who I am, right? And I think
Mm-hmm.
what you find in a lot of these people who tank their own businesses and they're disconnected is they're just chasing money, and like you said, they don't know exactly why they want to do it. They just know that they want the freedom or they want the money or whatever, or it looks flashy, and they get caught
Mm-hmm.
in that. So like, oh, I'm just going to do this thing, and then there's nothing. There's nothing there for them,
Mm-hmm.
right? Whereas when you're connected to something and it's connected to like the work that you do in your life, um, it really makes it something that you can benefit from. Like the business itself can actually benefit you, but it only does that when you're in a good place. Otherwise, it can completely destroy you. Like literally, it'll literally
No,
destroy you. You know.
I completely agree. I completely agree. And so that's a big beef of mine recently has been we don't need more businesses that teach you to sell parts of yourself in order to make money or to be nihilistic. That's actually a big reason. I've been a big Hormozy detractor for the last year. And his business stuff is still exceptional. Like, I love his business stuff. It's great. But I just find he's been very nihilistic
Hmm.
and like just so life is stupid. And that's why I really loved his episode with Tony Robbins, because Tony Robbins gave him a very loving slap.
Hmm.
Fuck happiness, fuck suffering, man. Like, you don't have to think like that. And I do think at his core, Hormozy is a good person. Like I think he's got a big heart, but I just think that's such a key example of people getting lost in the narratives or not understanding how to connect to themselves in a real way. Like you said, I gave to charity and it didn't mean anything to me.
He said he felt worse.
Yeah. Yeah. He's like, all I could
Yeah.
think about was I just lost money. Fuck. And I don't even blame him because, like, with that operating system, like, of course he's going to feel that way. So it's not an indictment of his character. And I'm not trying to, I don't never met the guy, I don't know. But I just think that so many people with the online space being full of bad actors, for lack of a better term, I just think it's really been easy for people to fall into the trap of money's all that matters. Build, fuck what you think, especially if you're a man, just provide for your family, make money, your kids need food, fuck you, you're being selfish, like just provide. And I really think that there are people turning away from that because you can
Hmm.
feel good about who you are. You can build something that gives you joy. You can
Yeah.
build something that gives you energy and makes you
Yes.
money and provides for your family. You don't have to pretend your needs don't matter or that they don't exist
Hmm.
to make money, because that's what I did, and I ended up in the hospital a bunch of times. And I don't want other people to do that.
Yeah, well, that's why I'm so pumped for you, man. This next stage here. This is like the. It's funny you bring up Hermosi because I make a connection to you and him in a completely different stage. So Hermosi is like uh, I would say he's one of those guys you can take concepts and just like make them very okay. Do this, like it's just very
Yeah.
practical, right? It's just great.
Mm-hmm.
But clearly, because I've heard him on Chris Williamson's podcast. He's clearly talking to different people. He's like was throwing out like if I start meditating, I have to meditate every day. And like they did this whole thing where he was talking about all this other stuff. And I'm like, oh, he's into that now. Cool. He's not. It's not public. Then went on. He sat down with Tony Robbins, right? And he had that moment,
Mm-hmm.
and like that was public. Like he clearly wants this to be out there,
Mm-hmm.
right? In some respect. Otherwise, he'd be like, "Don't air
Mm-hmm.
that shit." Anyways, I
Yeah.
say all that just to say, like, the stuff that you're doing, right, is what I'm excited for him to start doing at some point in the future,
Mm-hmm.
which is to truly become that person who's like leaning into that.
Mm-hmm.
Because when he does that, it's going to be awesome because he's so influential and he's probably going to help a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people, right? But you've gone through that journey, right? Like I said, you've literally done the inner work. You've worked at agencies. You've, you know, health wise, you've just ignored your whole bunch of stuff until you had crazy stuff. And I won't out all your stories here. I know this because I know you. The point I'm
Mm-hmm.
making is you are entering into your, next stage of, and I don't use this word, we'll call it teacher mode, but guide mode. I'm not going to use the other
Mm-hmm.
G word. And I'm excited for that for you, brother, because like it's a whole other responsibility. And I know that through this new offer, you're going to find that you're going to have to do more inner work and you're going to be challenged in a way that because now you're saying,
Mm-hmm.
hey, look, I've done this guy's done all this work. Look, I do all this. And that's going to require you to keep doing it and keep
Mm-hmm.
becoming, right? And I'm really excited for this next phase of your life, man, because like I believe that you're now ready to teach the young Nicholases of the
Yeah.
world, and who knows, maybe even some older guys like me too. So whoever's on
Mm-hmm.
that journey, that's not like where you're at, man. Like you've done some really good work, and the reason why I put you
I
in that category with Hormozy is because he's getting to that only now.
mm-hmm.
You're much younger than him, and you're getting into it
Mm-hmm.
now, and I guess that's a good way to say like it's not about age, and some people never get into this stuff ever, and
Mm-hmm.
they suffer a lot, right? So
Mm-hmm.
again, like I'm really proud of you, man.
Yeah, I appreciate that a lot, man. I appreciate that. I think that's a good place to end this. So, Darcy, if you want to tell people where they can find you.
Darcy Coss, it's not cross, it's DarcyCoss, just on Instagram, YouTube, whatever. If you have sciatica, chronic back pain, if you're looking for a back pain coach, reach out.
Yeah, he's the most knowledgeable person I know about back pain and sciatica. So, hit him up.
Shout out.
But yeah, Darcy, thank you so much for doing this. We'll talk later. And if you're watching, peace.